Good evening, everyone. I am Cheryl Fishbein, President of the Jewish Community Relations Council of New York, and I am thrilled to welcome you to our 2021 virtual gala. Tonight is a particularly significant evening for all of us at JCRC as we pay special tribute to our bridge builder of 36 years, our CEO, Michael Miller. We are also privileged to be presenting the Corporate Diversity Award to Ajay Banga and to be joining Gus Lippman and his family in inaugurating the Barbara and Ira A. Lippman Community Security Award in loving memory of their parents. We are also proud to present the Continuing Legacy Award to Ari Ackermann. Michael, Ajay, Gus, and Ari are all true leaders dedicated to family, faith, community, and the concept of giving back. They also epitomize the best of JCRC and how our lay leadership and professional staff have navigated the challenges to our community in New York. Our community has encountered anti-Semitic attacks, the pandemic, social injustice, strife in Israel, and we have risen to each occasion, providing invaluable security, resources, support, and guidance and advice. In addition to our honorees, there are many to thank tonight. Our partners at UJA Federation of New York, our honorary tribute committee, honorary chairs, gala committee, sponsors, development committee, past presidents, officers, board of directors, and our stellar and devoted staff. We also thank each of you for joining us and for your support and friendship. Because of you, JCRC can continue to fulfill our mission of uniting communities. We work to achieve our vision of a secure, connected, and vibrant Jewish community in New York. And although we are virtual this evening, we look forward to seeing all of you in person at our winter benefit in November. It is now my pleasure to welcome two wonderful friends to bring greetings. Acting Consul General of Israel in New York, Yisrael Nitzan, followed by UJA Federation of New York President Amy Bressman. Thank you all.
Thank you, Cheryl, for that introduction and for your friendship over the years. Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, I'm delighted to join you here this evening to celebrate the many accomplishments of the JCRC, as well as the dedicated individuals that have given so much towards building a stronger, more viable community. The JCRC knows the value of building bridges and of reaching out to others, those within the Jewish community, and especially those who differ in culture, religion, and race. Through various programs such as Youth Bridge, We Are All New York, the Faculty Engagement Initiative, and CSI, the Community Security Initiative, the JCRC brings together people of all ages, professions, and backgrounds in order to share experiences and forge relationships. Your awardees tonight and my dear friend Michael Miller are all deserving of our gratitude and praise, as they have all contributed to the work of the JCRC and its success in bringing our communities closer and making them safer. While we can commend all of the accomplishments of the JCRC, we must acknowledge that the past 36 years, it was Michael Miller who led the way. Whether he was speaking at a synagogue or a church, providing motivation at a rally, addressing a press conference, or even simply marching in a parade, Michael was the force that brought us all closer together. Under his leadership, we have seen the JCRC grow, creating new programs and connecting so many diverse people. I personally take pride in knowing of the numerous individuals that have traveled with Michael to Israel on JCRC missions. During these trips, Michael created an atmosphere which allowed participants to experience life in Israel through good times and bad. To so many that were previously unfamiliar, he depicted Israel as a place that is strengthened by the diversity of its people and by the challenges they face together. By simply opening up a discussion, Michael brought about a better understanding to so many that were previously unfamiliar. Thank you, Michael, for teaching so many individual lessons, and thank you, Michael, personally, for your friendship and wisdom. On behalf of the State of Israel, I congratulate all the honorees and wish you all a wonderful evening and many more years of success.
Good evening. I'm Amy Bressman, and I'm honored and privileged to be the president of UJA Federation. I am so happy to be with you on this very special evening to celebrate JCRC's vital work in our community. We continue to find ourselves in a complex world. We have begun to rebuild our city in the wake of the pandemic, which has left much for us to deal with. We see continued anti-Semitism, hatred towards others, and real divisions in our society. But I still believe so strongly in our future. I believe that by working together, we can address the challenges of today and are prepared for whatever tomorrow may bring. UJA was built for this moment, and having JCRC by our side is essential to our efforts. JCRC works its magic both on the front lines and behind the scenes. JCRC's unique relationships and expertise are critical tools in successfully facing our future. Thanks to JCRC's connection with law enforcement, elected officials, and various community leaders, we are able to build bridges across all segments of our New York community and address issues of shared importance. And the partnership between UJA and JCRC couldn't be stronger. I am particularly proud of our work together in launching the Community Security Initiative that keeps our local institutions safe, and the Jewish Criminal Justice Coalition, which engages in advocacy efforts for criminal justice reform. This is a special evening, and I want to add my congratulations to tonight's honorees. I would also like to acknowledge JCRC's leadership, Cheryl Fishbein, and the Board of Directors, as well as the talented and dedicated professional staff. And in closing, I want to say a few special words of tribute to the incredible Michael Miller, who has so ably led JCRC for over 3 decades and built it into the vibrant organization that it is today. Michael, it is a pleasure and joy to know you. All of us are so lucky to be the beneficiaries of your unwavering dedication to strengthening our community. Your wisdom, your impact, your legacy will be part of JCRC for generations to come. We applaud your accomplishments and wish you much good luck in the next phase of your life. May you go from strength to strength.
Ajay Banga's leadership is based on one very rare quality that we have in today's leadership, and that is the ability to listen. His ability to absorb the sentiments around him, his ability to process and analyze all of that, and then produce decisions that are really groundbreaking. If you look at what MasterCard is doing in the field of financial inclusion, it's really breathtaking, it's incredible. His passion for the history of his people, his passion for the history of our people, is really a connecting point. And Ajay, very much like Michael Miller, is a bridge builder, is a person whose entire passion, his entire career, his entire worldview is based on the need to build bridges between communities.
I've had the pleasure of meeting Ajay due to the fact that I was involved in the Young Professionals Business Resource Group at MasterCard. He invited the entire executive board to go out to get dinner together. And I remember before the event, I was super nervous. Obviously, I was meeting the CEO of this giant organization. And the second that I saw him and sat down with him, he had the ability to make that nervousness go away for not only me, but all of my other young professional board members. So even though Ajay has all these different accomplishments and he's this incredible person, he really took the time to listen to every single one of the YoPro's board members and really learn about us.
Ajay's leadership style and accomplishments are something that, in my opinion, is going to go down as second to none. But you can't talk about what he did without talking about how he did it. The concept of decency quotient, which Ajay coined, really speaks loudly into everything that is Ajay's being. It's about him being human, it's about him being decent, it's about him understanding people and the relationships and looking beyond what's going on in just the four walls of your office or your company. Taking what brings us together, our similarities, and embracing what makes us different that we can learn from each other. Ajay embodies that with everything that he does. So him getting an award like this from JCRC, in my mind, is completely fitting.
Ajay Banga is all about loyalty. Loyalty to his family, loyalty to his mission, loyalty to his nation, loyalty to humanity. And I think that this is what makes him so unique. He constantly thinks about ways to improve the well-being of society in general.
I see how much alignment JCRC has with MasterCard's values. Both these organizations lead with decency. They take diversity and inclusion at a whole other level with the level of authenticity that they have towards their mission.
Very big congratulations from the Hong Kong team.
I've been very fortunate to have people around me, both my colleagues and my peers and friends who've been smart and decent, and I think those two attributes help you a great deal. One of the things I've picked up from all of them is that there is always something you can learn from others. You just have to take the time to listen and value their perspectives and their experiences. You know, diversity is a complicated word. It means many different things to many other people, but for me, what it really means is the magic. The magic of diversity is what I care about. So what does that mean for me? Well, the first part is that if you are valued more for what you do and how you do it, as compared to what you look like and where you came from, that makes you feel included, it makes you feel empowered, and that is the true magic for me. Another aspect of diversity that I value and treasure is the aspect that says, don't surround yourself with people who look like you, walk like you, talk like you, went to the same schools, you worked together for years. If you do that, you will most likely end up in a situation where you may have the same blind spots, you may miss the same things that are different. And so diversity actually makes you stronger. I think JCRC's objective of being a voice for the Jewish community is inspirational. They serve as a role model for all of us, Sikhs, other such communities looking to establish our own voice and becoming advocates for ourselves. But the second aspect of JCRC that I find fascinating is their ability to help to build a bridge of understanding, of acceptance, of inclusion between communities, not just for the Jewish community. The one thing that I think I'm most proud of over my years is the culture of this company, of MasterCard. I think we've built a culture where people want to win, but they want to win the right way. They want to win with decency. They want to lead with their decency quotient, with their DQ, not just their IQ and the EQ. I don't know that I can feel that I want to leave a mark on the world. I do want to leave the feeling that I made a difference to people around me, that my decency, that my willingness to be a winning player who does things the right way, who cares about what I do and how I do it, and who cares about what people do and how they do it, that is what I want people to recall me for.
I have the honor of presenting JCRC's Corporate Diversity Award to my good friend Ajay Banga in recognition of your deep dedication to all communities and faiths and your respected and treasured leadership. Congratulations.
Thank you for those very, very kind words. And JCRC and Michael Miller, thank you for this recognition and for your friendship. But most importantly, I also want to thank Henry and Mary Josie Kravis and all the others who have been so supportive of JCRC and me and Michael throughout this evening. Thank you very, very much.
My great-grandparents were really early Zionists back in Odessa, back in the early 20th century. And they very proudly took their infant son to Israel and established themselves in the early community of Tel Aviv before there was really even a city there. The thing I remember most about my grandparents, really both my grandmother and my grandfather, was just how they always talked about Israel. They were so proud to be from Israel, born in Israel. They were early grade school sweethearts, not even high school sweethearts, but grade school sweethearts back in the first high school in Tel Aviv called Germatsia Herzliya. They basically lived across the street from each other. And it's just love hearing those stories of those old communities in Israel who were the first people there in Tel Aviv to establish what is now such a thriving city in such an amazing country. The two most important things in my life are family and Jewish continuity, but family really comes first. I always say that I really learned everything about the importance of giving back to my community, especially in terms of the Jewish community, from my dear mom, who was just always in my heart forever. Her magnanimous smile and just embracing hugs will always be with me. We lost her about 8 years ago, but she really taught my sister and I everything about giving back to Judaism and the Jewish community and Israel. We joked, my sister and I joked, that our living room we always thought was a Jewish catering hall because she so warmly welcomed every single Jewish organization, including the JCRC, to her home to hold their annual fundraiser or their important meeting, whatever the case may be. And it instilled in my sister and I the strong value system of making sure we knew about Tikkun Olam and giving back to the world, and the importance especially of giving back to the Jewish community. Very proud of this award because I really admire all the work that the JCRC does, especially Michael Miller and a lot of the people that are involved. In this time of just violent anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism, media distortion, who just say things that just simply aren't true, we need organizations like the JCRC who speak the truth very powerfully and very strongly on behalf of the community. We need people who stand up for the community, and that's such an amazing thing that the JCRC, especially in New York, that the organization does for the Jewish community.
Ari is a true leader. He leads with dedication and intelligence and kindness, and he's not only a leader in the Jewish community, but he's also a leader in our family. Congratulations, Ari, on this amazing award that's very well deserved. And we love you so much, and we can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
Simone and I are so incredibly proud to have the honor of presenting you with the JCRC New York Continuing Legacy Award. You truly exemplify the best of family, community, social justice, and commitment to Israel. We have the honor of witnessing firsthand all the work you do on behalf of the Jewish people. You truly deserve and have earned this honor. Simona is so lucky to have you as a role model and how to live honorably and passionately, and just loves you so much. I am so grateful for how incredible a husband and daddy you are. We love you so much and are so proud of you. Continuing Legacy Award presented to Ari Ackermann, founder, Bunk1.com, and partner, Miami Marlins. In recognition of your deep dedication to Jewish traditions, family, community, the state of Israel, and New York City.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Andy. So let me first say thank you to the JCRC and all the incredible work you do to ensure a secure Jewish community, especially during this time of escalating anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. Your work is appreciated and needed now more than ever. And it's an honor to receive this award this year with my co-honoree, friend and leader who I've looked up to for many years, Michael Miller. And of course, I want to thank my incredible friends, literally hundreds who have joined tonight and so generously supported me today and always. And of course, my amazing family, so many who are here tonight. My father, sister, niece, nephew, aunts, uncles, cousins, and of course, my beautiful inside and out wife, Lauren, and my precious, sweet little girl, Simona, who is just my heart. It's a true honor to receive the Continuing Legacy Award from the JCRC, as this literally combines what I am most passionate about, family and Jewish continuity. So many of you heard me say this before. I am so immensely proud to come from a Zionistic and also philanthropic family with incredible role models who I wholeheartedly loved and looked up to. Specifically, my legendary grandfather, one of the founders of the State of Israel, who we lost 2.5 years ago, and my brilliant psychologist and legendary philanthropist mom, who we lost 8.5 years ago, taught me about the importance of giving back more than you can with both your time and your support, and stressed the importance of our beautiful heritage and the traditions and responsibility that comes with being a proud Jew. It's a true honor to accept this award with them in my heart and with the passion to continue to actively work hard to remember where I came from, who and what I represent, and for my daughter, paving the way for the next generation. I want to thank the JCRC again for this award and for all of you for being here tonight.
In my family, security and safety has essentially been in our blood. My grandfather moved from Philadelphia to Little Rock, Arkansas in 1935 and started a private investigative service. What he was able to do as a leader in Little Rock, Arkansas was help secure his community and be looked upon as someone who could make not only his home, but his community, his synagogue, and the Jewish community specifically safer. When we look at the basic fundamentals of safety and security, we look at the safety at home. This portrait of freedom from fear. We see a father, he's standing over those children and making sure that they're tucked in, and they seem blissfully content and comfortable. But if you look very carefully at the newspaper, the world is a very dangerous place, and yet the father here has led an extraordinary example in protecting the environment that the children live in. I gave this portrait to my father because what he did as an example was provide us, through his duty as a father, his obligations as a father, and I then extrapolate that to his obligations to the community and the Jewish community specifically, to do what he could to safeguard the community. My father had a difficult environment growing up in that he grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas in the 1950s. And in the 1950s, he went to Little Rock Central High and became friends with members of the Little Rock Nine and was committed to social justice as a natural extension of the lessons that he learned from his father and his mother. And so that sense of community was absolutely a commitment that he had at 16. That commitment to ethics and to fairness is something that whenever he met with anyone was an absolute requirement. I speak to you today from my father's study. He created the idea for this award based on his example, his exceptional example of leadership in providing safety for the Jewish community. Honoring his memory today is important, but the legacy of what we do with this award in the future will continue to honor that legacy.
While unfortunately security concerns are a reality of our time, the fact that Gus and his family are receiving this award stands as a beacon for future generations in terms of lighting a path as to how they can lead and continue to protect our community in future years and generations to come.
I'm Michael Douglas, and I have known the Lippman family, specifically the late Barbara and Ira Lippman, for over 40 years. Ira Lippman and I met through an organization called the National Council of Crime and Delinquency. As chairman, he was deeply involved in its mission of using data and research to improve our social systems so they work equitably for all families. Ira understood danger and the proper deployment of lethal force when necessary. And in the early 1980s, he spearheaded an initiative to disarm security personnel that did not need to be armed. He achieved this despite industry resistance while also raising standards. The result was a decrease in crime, fewer accidents, and a seriousness about managing lethal risk. Ira Lippman was a visionary in the world of security and knew what needed to be done to protect the communities, both Jewish and the greater community. I was proud to write in praise of his book, How to Be Safe, and I'm honored to present this award, the Barbara and Ira A. Lippman Community Security Award, which his children and grandchildren inaugurate this evening. Congratulations to the Lippman family, and congratulations to JCRC-NY as the recipient of this wonderful gift.
Thank you to Michael Douglas for those wonderful comments about my parents as we remember them and the impact that they made in establishing this award. Thank you to all of the friends and family that have come together to contribute to the success of this evening. I'd also like to congratulate Michael Miller. I'd like to congratulate Ajay Banga. I'd like to congratulate Ari Ackermann on your deserved awards. Thank you to the JCRC, and we look forward to the future successes of the Barbara and Ira Lippman Community Security Award.
Michael is an extraordinary individual. He has found grace in the eyes of God and in the eyes of man.
There's nobody I know in the Jewish community, both nationally or locally, who has established such close, meaningful, and sustainable relationships that Michael has.
Michael, you have established a great reputation in this city. You have grown JCRC as an institution of credibility and of reach, one that is respected in the most diverse city in the country and indeed in the world.
Michael has been a leader not only in outreach, but in inreach and making people appreciate each other for what they are. His ability to build and sustain relationships with the various different ethnic and racial communities of New York is just extraordinary.
The thing about working with Michael is these also people who are strong individuals, and yet Michael has managed to work with all of them because of his incredible unselfishness and humility. He was able to fashion together a narrative across all these people and everything they do to keep him focused on the role of the JCRC.
Michael Miller is a man of enormous talent who has run the JCRC now for many, many years, run it with great skill, with great wisdom.
Michael's tremendous efforts at outreach and understanding were always greatly appreciated. And as he learned from other communities, so did they learn from him.
Michael was a real winner. He had a lot of things to do. He had to win the applause and backing of the organization, which he did. He had to know the organization, which he did. You had to know its strengths and its weaknesses, which you also did.
We talk about him as a CEO, but I talk about him as basically the alter ego of JCRC. After 36 years, JCRC is Michael Miller, Michael Miller is JCRC. It's deeply embedded in both the entity and Michael himself personally.
We have a toast for Michael. So everybody get your glasses out. Michael, L'chaim. Thank you so much for everything. L'chaim.
Michael, our community is immensely grateful to you for your decades of service.
I just want to thank you. You have done the work of building up a real sense of community, of bridging divides, no matter how tough the situations look. You've been an example of what a true leader does. You show us a way to something better.
Congratulations, Michael, on this tribute and on your outstanding advocacy over the years.
His commitment to the Jewish people and love of the State of Israel were very evident. His ability to reach out to elected officials, leaders of other communities, and gain their confidence, and to build together with them, reaching into other communities and building with them as well.
Since 1986, you have been not only an advisor and friend to me and so many others, but you have done an amazing job for the Jewish community of New York and for the Jewish community for America.
Thank you so much for all you've done, Michael, and thank you for your personal guidance and advice and unbelievable commitment to others and those who are less fortunate.
Michael has become a true force in strengthening ties within the Jewish community and with numerous ethnic, racial, and religious groups in the metropolitan area. Thank you for all you've done, Michael.
Thank you for always embracing Dr. King's principles and strengthening the everlasting bonds between the Jewish and African American communities.
Michael has helped build bridges between the Jewish community and other ethnic, racial, and religious groups in New York, and he has been an advocate for his own community, as well as for New Yorkers of all backgrounds and faith.
All of us here in the police department want to thank you, Michael, for everything you've done to make our city a safer, more inclusive place for all. I am so grateful for the opportunity I had to work with you, and we wish you all the best in your next chapter. Congratulations.
I want to wish Michael a hearty mazel tov and a yasher koach on a job very well done.
I would like to add my voice and my best wishes for Rabbi Michael Miller for so many years of dedicated service. Don't retire, just rewire and keep on doing the good work that you are doing.
So let me ask everyone to raise their glass to wish a l'chaim to Michael, to wish good health, good strength, and a thank you for everything you have done for the Jews of New York, for the people of New York, and for the Jewish community worldwide. So l'chaim.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. L'chaim.
Hillary and I are proud to join all of you for the Jewish Community Relations Council of New York's 2021 Virtual Gala, especially given the recent rise in anti-Semitic hate crimes. The work of organizations like JCRC has never been more important. And we join you in condemning hatred and bigotry of all kinds. As you gather tonight to reaffirm your commitment to the good work of JCRC, we also want to say a special word of congratulations to our organization's longtime CEO and our friend Michael Miller, as he prepares to take on the role of CEO Emeritus. I've known Michael for nearly 30 years now, and I've always admired his extraordinary ability to bring people together across faiths and backgrounds for the greater good. His passion and dedication have not only strengthened New York's Jewish community, but the entire New York community and far beyond. Hillary and I will always be grateful for the chance we've had to work closely with Michael and benefit from his insights. And I'll always be particularly proud that he could join me for the first ever menorah lighting in the Oval Office. So mazel tov, Michael. We wish you, Phyllis, and your family much health and happiness in the years to come.
Michael, thanks so much for sitting down with me. Very good to be with you. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much, Errol. It's always wonderful to be with you too.
You know, I was so glad for a chance to read through some of your illustrious biography. There's so much about you I did not know. Even though we spent a lot of time in Israel and in other places, well, I did not realize that you had been an army chaplain, that you were sort of following what I guess could be considered a somewhat traditional path for a rabbi. That you were sort of a chaplain, and then you had a pulpit in Massachusetts, and then you decided to walk away from it. What was the thinking there?
Well, first regarding my chaplaincy, it was less the traditional and more family. My maternal grandfather was in the Spanish-American War as an American soldier. My father was a chaplain in World War II. I was in the Army Air Corps. And so I decided in the beginning of what we refer to as a rabbinate of my serving as a rabbi that I would volunteer for the United States Army and serve as a chaplain. I was stationed in Fort Knox, Kentucky. It wasn't my first time out of the New York area. My father was from Baltimore, my mother is from Hartford, but Midwest is a little different than the East Coast. And it was quite an experience for me, and that was a great training ground for me to enter into the rabbinical world, but also thinking about it, also my experience with the non-Jewish community as well, with people of all different backgrounds. So it was a good preparatory stage for what I eventually ended up going into. And so I made my way back into the rabbinical world in Springfield, Massachusetts, in a very large Orthodox congregation. One of the previous rabbis of that congregation became the president of Yeshiva University, which is my alma mater. So there was a significant tradition in that community. And that's where I was. And during that period of time, I decided to volunteer communally. And even though I was the Orthodox rabbi and not the conservative, reform, the more liberal, more progressive rabbi spiritually, I volunteered for the Jewish Federation in Springfield, and I was assigned to the Community Relations Committee. It wasn't too long before I became the chair of the Community Relations Committee, and probably the most momentous experience that I had was being asked to travel behind the Iron Curtain and go to the former Soviet Union to visit with individuals who were referred to as refuseniks. They were refused a visa to travel to Israel, to leave the country and to go to Israel.
Well, but your mission in that case was to do what with them? This was to sort of worship and minister, or was this to sort of help guide them out of there as they were trying to leave?
No, it was to give them strength.
And I wanted to ask you next about Crown Heights. In 1991, which I think of as a world away in a different situation, but it's just a few years later. We're about a mile from where I live, in fact. A complete breakdown of community relations. Right? This is now your field. This is not something you can walk away from. What did you do? How did you deal with that situation?
I left the rabbinical world. I was a rabbi in a synagogue, and I said, no more. The experience in the former Soviet Union said to Michael Miller, you're in the wrong field. You're the chair of the Community Relations Committee in a small federation in Springfield, Massachusetts. Michael, you need to do more with your life than give sermons on Shabbat, on the Sabbath. And so when I stepped into this world of community relations, back in those days, there were no community relations in Crown Heights per se.
Right.
Neither was JCRC poised and positioned to engage in community relations. And the pain that the community experienced, I felt, many felt. We needed to do something about that. We could not prevent what took place because the structures weren't there. But after that very horrible and painful experience, it was crucial, it was vital that we, as the Jewish community of New York, JCRC as the representative organization of the Jewish community of New York, step in and attempt to build, not rebuild, because there wasn't nothing there.
Right.
And probably the most exciting, exhilarating, but challenging experience is ex nihilo, start with nothing and build upon it.
Well, in a case like that, did you have a picture in mind of the bridge you wanted to build?
We knew that we had to open up lines of communication. Exactly how? It's really building trust, Errol. It's really building trust, but trust on both sides. That just because we are Jewish doesn't mean that necessarily we can relate to the Jewish community residing in that community or any other community. But it's really a matter of being an honest broker and having the integrity that would then be recognized by the people that we're engaging with, and in return, they would work with us.
It really is important work that you've done. I guess one of the other big cataclysmic events that I know was a potential crisis for community relations were the 9/11 attacks, when there were people who were afraid to walk the streets. There was a sort of a backlash feeling. There was this overwhelming sadness that descended on the city, I think, for a lot of New Yorkers. There was a lot of rage too, but what I mostly remember was just the sadness. I can't even imagine what the situation must have been like for you, but what were your duties? What was your response? How did you deal with 9/11?
Well, I'm going to take a step back and go back to 1994, and that was the shooting on the Brooklyn Bridge and the murder of Ari Halberstam. A young teenager is killed from the Crown Heights Jewish community. You can only imagine. And there was a great concern for the safety of the Jewish community because the perpetrator was still at large. And there was also a concern for the backlash against the Muslim communities of New York. That I think helped prepare me for 9/11. That something similar was happening. This was not a targeting the Jewish community per se, it was targeting America. But the perpetrators clearly were Muslim extremists, Muslim radicals. How is that going to impact on the Muslim community here in New York? And once again, we at the JCRC had opened up lines of communication with all different levels of Muslim populations in New York. And those relationships needed to be activated in response to 9/11.
For someone raised in Christian tradition, to see the places that you've read about since you were a child, right? The Mount of Olives and,
Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
Holy Sepulchre, sailing on the Sea of Galilee.
Right, yeah.
But really, really important. And I remember you telling me along the way that one thing you wanted, and I'm curious if this applies across all 30 plus years, that you were looking for character witnesses. That you didn't want us to come back with any particular political view or ideology or agenda, but to be able to say truthfully, which I can say, we had a really good trip. We met some really nice people, and it's a complex society that deserves our respect and our support. Is that always the mission? Was that always the goal?
The mission very much is having our guests, our participants, see Israel through their own eyes. One cannot understand the Middle East without being in the Middle East.
Well, just to conclude, how do you hope to see JCRC grow in the future? I mean, you are so closely identified with it. I'm not sure which parts of it they're going to name after you, but for me, it will always be your organization. But I'm sure, as part of being a responsible leader, you've got plans for where it should go into the future.
Organically, the JCRC has a great future ahead of it. all the pieces are there. They need to be expanded upon. We are a Jewish community in New York, which is a minority within a flourishing majority, representing a full spectrum of multiples of ethnic communities. We need to strengthen ourselves internally as well as externally. And we can't afford Jewishly for there to be internal polarization. We can't view people who disagree with us as individuals whom we can't talk to, whom we demonize, as opposed to taking out that same erector set and building bridges internally as we build them externally. JCRC, I'm very proud of what we've accomplished within this organization. I'm very proud to call you a friend, and thank God with the 1,000, 1,500 people we've taken to Israel over the years, we have many friends. We're not always going to agree on the issues, but we can communicate with each other. We can talk to one another. We can embrace each other, even if we fundamentally disagree on various issues. To me, that's community relations. It doesn't mean that we are all one. We're fractions of the one, and at times there's friction within the fractions. But we can communicate, we can talk, we can have dialogue, we can cooperate, we can coalesce, and we can build. So the future of New York, I think, is integrally tied with the future of JCRC. As successful as we are going to be, so I believe New York City will be successful. And I always have felt that we are a part of that success. The time has come for me to move on, but JCRC is going to move on too. And I believe it's going to move in the right direction, in a very successful direction, to many more accomplishments in the future, building upon what we've already done.
Michael Miller, I am so thrilled to have a chance to talk with you. Thanks so much for sitting down for just a little bit as part of this larger celebration of your work.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for supporting an organization that builds bridges and helps people work together with common purpose. That really is so important these days. Now, there's an old saying, 2 Jews, 3 opinions. There are more than 1 million Jews in New York, so you do the math. But one thing we can all agree on, Rabbi Michael Miller is a mensch, and our city is better because of his work. While I was mayor, Michael and I marched in parades to celebrate Israel. We visited Israel together to show our support and solidarity. We stood together to fight bigotry and ensure everyone of every religion enjoys the same rights. And we worked together to help people in need from all backgrounds. Like Michael, I learned the importance of service from my parents. So I'm particularly glad to say from now on, this award will be called the Rabbi Israel Miller and Rabbi Michael S. Miller Generation to Generation Award. Quite a mouthful. It's a fitting way, though, to honor the spirit of service that Michael and his father both embody and inspire others to emulate it for generations to come. Rabbi Miller, Mazel Tov, and all the best.
Thank you, Mayor Bloomberg, for your leadership and friendship. Your words, this award, and this evening's tribute mean so much to me. I want to start with a number of additional thank yous as well. I'm so grateful to my family, to my wife, my children, my grandchildren, for all their support throughout my career. I know that it has not been easy with me working at JCRC, but you have always been there for me, and I'm truly, truly grateful. I've been very fortunate over the years to work with an exceptional group of lay leaders. Our president, our past presidents, our unbelievable staff, so talented and so skilled. And I'd like to express my appreciation to each and every one of them for all that I've accomplished at JCRC. None of it would have happened without them. Thank you also to our Honorary Tribute Committee, Honorary Chairs, Gala Committee, and the team for producing this special evening, and to our sponsors and for your friendship and generous support. Because of each of you, our 2021 Gala has set a new fundraising record. Mazel tov. I want to congratulate my good friends Ari Ackermann and Ajay Banga for joining me tonight as co-honorees, and thank Gus Lippman for the mitzvah of honoring the memory of his parents for a program that is so vital to the Jewish community. I'm personally grateful to Ari, Ajay, and Gus for the critical role each played in tonight's remarkable success. Thank you. I look forward to continuing to serve JCRC and its mission in my new role as CEO Emeritus, and to working with incoming CEO Gideon Taylor as he leads this extraordinary organization into the future. For me, this is not as much a goodbye as it is a lehitraot, to see you again, and most especially, a shalom.
Michael has grown the JCRC from a small organization to a powerhouse, one that plays a major role in the life of this city. Michael embraces complexity. He leads with patience and thoughtfulness in order to bring people together, both within our Jewish community and with our neighbors. Michael embodies the spirit of Ahavat Yisrael, love for the Jewish community. It's this love that has driven him each day to help make New York a better, safer, and more harmonious place for all New Yorkers.